Here we go.
All right. Welcome. Welcome. You join business time.
Stick this in. I think that holds.
So we've got people online. We're so grateful that you're here.
We can hear you.
If you want to pull out, like you're fine there, but if you do want to move.
That was
There we go. There's like a wall right here behind you guys. So I'm just thanks, Rory. I'm just so glad that you guys are all here. And if you guys are on the Zoom and you wouldn't mind muting yourselves, that would be great. You're welcome to unmute anytime that you would like to ask a question. Definitely want to bring you guys into the room as much as possible. So, but if you hover your mouse over the bottom of your screen, the lower left, you'll see a little microphone and it says mute. And if you click on the microphone, it will mute you. And that just makes the sound a little bit better for the recording. And yeah, so thank you. Cool. All right. So, and there's some lovely people here in the room. Yeah, actually, let me without like tangling everything. Say hi. And there's Asia over there.
We're all wearing clothes.
They're wearing clothes. They braved this storm. They braved the storm, the intense storm. And here we are. So, and we have way too much food, so we really wish you guys were here. There's a lot of food in my kitchen, and gigantic pitcher of sangria, and we really wish you could be here to drink it with us. So maybe some other time. And we have a pod in Alaska. Okay, great. You're here. Yay. Hi, Alaska.
Hi, Alaska.
So no camera in the conference room. Okay, well, cool. If you guys have questions, you can unmute yourself. If that doesn't work, Alaska people, you can text me here, Erin and Sarah. Feel free to, my computer will make a noise, actually, if you want to get my attention. So how does it get better than that? Cool. So if you guys, so Joy Business, welcome to the Joy Business. I love this stuff. I just am so grateful for this work and for Access Consciousness and everything that it's given me. I've had some really, I've just been creating a lot this week of videos, and I've been doing a lot of sessions and just a lot of conversations around these tools and business done. Really, I mean, the very first class in Joy of Business is Access Business 101. Business done different, right? So business actually done different, not even differently. Differently is like kinda, sorta different, but not totally different. But really, truly different in that the energetics of what you're doing and who you're being and what you're playing with, and your willingness to ask questions and be curious and be innovative and think out of the box and create out of the box is such a huge piece of what, to me, why these tools actually work so dynamically. I was talking to somebody today about, there's so much stuff out there around business, right? There's no shortage of business advice, right? Or business books or business classes or business trainings or any of that stuff, right? But it's all a formula. It's all somebody telling you, well, if you do this, then this will happen. Or if you follow my 10-step formula, or if you want to have this, then you need to do this. And you need to get clear on your why. And you need to, all this stuff. And it's what if your business actually is really asking for what you know, that only you may know? And what's so cool and phenomenal and inspiring to me over and over and over again is that for me and for the people that I work with, what I see all the time is that the more you really know what you know, the more you really be who you be, the more fun you have, the more joy you have, the more your business is happy, and the more your business actually thrives and succeeds. And so that's just such great news. You know, it's like when I found this stuff, I was like, oh man, thank God somebody is actually speaking to what I've always known and never really given myself permission to know and to be and to create with my business. Because, you know, I've been creating my own business since I got out of graduate school, basically in 1997. And I started a private practice, and I had a physical business, and I had a staff, and I've done like lots of different things with business over the years. And I was like very teachable, you know, I was like a good student, and I would go to my business coach and she would tell me what to do, and I'd do it, and I'd be like, it's not working. And, or at least like, I mean, it sort of worked, you know, I was able to have a business for 20 years. So it worked in some way, but like what I knew was possible wasn't actually showing up. And there was just a sense of like, I have to do it right. And doing it right means that I don't actually get to have fun, you know?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so, and we all know, I mean, like how great now that it's like, oh, I mean, that's one thing I've been playing a lot with lately, like a lot this summer, is fun. And the more fun, like really actually going for what's fun, going for what's gonna, like, not even just like what's gonna create the most, which is always sort of one of my primary questions, but like truly what is fun for me? What is like so enjoyable and so delightful? And if I am doing what is fun for me and choosing what is fun for me, chances are there's an expansion in my world. There's an expansion in the world. There's an expansion in my business. And it's amazing to me, the more I choose that space of creation, that like when I'm not having fun, I actually see sort of instantaneously in a way, like more and more and more, I start to see, wow, anytime I go away from that like joyful, expansive, exuberant energy, or even just like, you know, being willing to be present with myself, my business goes, you know, it sort of like loses its thing, you know? And yeah.
How do you want to structure this, Heather? Like question and answers interspersed, or?
Yeah, well, I just was sort of given a little sort of welcome intro, and yeah, and actually I would really love to know, because you guys, there's not a ton of you in the room, and a lot of people I think are, you know, planning on getting the recording later, but there's quite a few people online too, but enough like space tonight for you guys to really ask your questions. And that's what I love about these tasters, is that it really, and just these classes in general, it's like, it really is about like, where would you like to go? What questions do you have? What, if you could have anything out of this, what would it be? If your business could be anything, what would it be? And what can I contribute to you to having more of that and choosing more of that and creating more of that? So shoot.
So, okay. So for me, I share Tom here in Colorado. So for me, I share a lot of the same experiences you have, in the sense I see all these formulas and this and that. This is the right way to go. And if you do X, Y, and Z, and you promote A, B, and C, and blah, 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 you know, that we're reading about in People magazine. Not that I want to be read about there, but anyhow. So with me, what it's about is the fun is in the creating,
Yeah,
and the building and such. And so the fun is not in the promoting, as it were. So I'm locked between this. If you build it, they will come. Literally, I make hi-fi gear. So, you know, if you build it, they will come, versus, you know, getting out and blowing your own horn in some energetic or physical way in order to do it.
Yeah.
So the biggest challenge I have is in that latter part, you know, the blowing your horn, or what is, you know, how do you create the pull energy, basically?
right.
You know, to get there from it. Because the building stuff is like, that's easy. That just happens at me.
Right.
You know, so what would it take for that other part to be as much fun and natural?
Yeah.
So that's
Cool.
my big
That's
sticking part.
Yeah, great question. And what, I'm just gonna turn off my little noisemaker here. So what if your creations talk to you, right? Like they sort of tell you how they would like
Scream
to
at
create.
me.
Yeah, cool. How does it get better than
They
that?
shake me by the,
Yeah.
they grab me by the
Right,
throat, they just beat me to submission.
Damn it, it's time, right? That's awesome. So what would it be like if they could also let you know like where to go and who to talk to, and like, because there's a lot of questions that, do you ask questions like that? Like, who can I talk to today, or where can I go today that will allow this to be out into the world even more?
Not frequently enough.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, you know, we all have our brilliance with different aspects of business, right? And so yours is in the actually like creating the product, right? Not so much in the connecting of actually bringing people and your product together, right? And so there's a lot of different ways to play with that. And you can, you know, certainly lots of questions is really great. Like, is there somebody that you could hire or that you could include in your business in some way that is a phenomenal connector, that really loves your product, that thinks it's amazing, that has this, like, they say the gift of gab, right? Where it's like you just sort of tell people, you know, naturally. Is there somebody like that? And maybe there's not somebody that you know right now, but that's something you could start asking.
What could appear, you know,
make and who do you know, and like that kind of thing.
Because a parallel angle to that for me is, you know, once someone gets me going in 1-on-1 or 1-on-20 or 1-on-50, you know, I think I'm great.
Right.
You know, it's just if I sit down, you know, I get down in my little lair and I sit there and say, how am I going to set up Facebook pixels so when I go in through here, it ends up, and when they click on this,
there's so much joy in that.
It's like, it's not fun for me, you know. And I'm a software guy by heart, so but still, it's like, this is just you know, it's not fun. You know,
and so
it's work.
And the thing is, like, it's amazing. I've been looking at this, because when you include somebody in your business, right? Like if you hire somebody or you set something up with somebody in a way, right? You're adding an energy to your business. Like you're adding a different, not even an energy, but like energies, right? And I've looked at that with my household, and because I've had you know, like nannies over the years that were, you know, it's sort of been like, okay, well, your job is to you know, help with my kids and help with me, and I haven't had a nanny all summer, and recently I've been like, well, I've just been sort of like, maybe I will, maybe I won't hire somebody this year. But what I got, that when I looked at it, I went, there's an energy that would be a huge contribution to to the business of my household, right? And me. And it's a specific energy that for me, for this particular example, it's like an energy of like somebody who's actually present here to nurture me, not my kids. Because that's what it's been in the past, is somebody who's nurturing my kids. Now it's like, no, I think there's a different energy required here that would actually make my life, like, that would really be a contribution to my life and the business of my life and my business. And so I've been playing with that, like that energy has been expanding my world lately, of like, oh, it's this energy that now I have more clarity on, like, what would it take and what would it be like to really include that energy in my world. And even just starting to perceive what that is, it's like, it starts to create more possibility. And I'm like, oh, there may be actually somebody that I could be adding. And what I get when I look at it from that point of view is my whole life, my house, my body, my business gets like happier, right? And it's sort of like, it no longer feels like an expense in my world of like, do I want to spend the money on nanny? You know, it's more like, oh, you know, like, I would like to add this energy.
You feel like you just got a big massage, basically.
Right, because everything goes.
Or small massage.
Yeah, everything expands when I look at. So I wonder what that could be like. Is there something that your business is asking for
That.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That.
Yeah, and when you start to play with it and just be with it and include it and just say yes to it, because this is where choice is so powerful. Choice is there is this, like, you step into choice if you really are choosing. The potency of choice is such that you make a choice. If you're really making a choice, whack, the whole universe can shift on its axis in a nanosecond, right? Your whole business can change if you're willing for choice to be that potent, right? Because a lot of us go like, oh, I'm going to choose, it's like, I'm going to choose this, and then it's sort of like, what do I need to do? And what, but so it's like, it's not really like, hey, universe, like, I'm aware that this is a possibility. Yeah. It's more like, oh, now I'm going to get to work and I have to do, because we're so good at do. Yeah. To create it. And what if the potency of your choice was like so immediate and so potent that as soon as you perceive a new energy that you can include in your world or your business, like somebody to add, or, boom, everything is different, right? And then the quantum entanglements in the universe sort of like contribute to that showing up for you. So, and I wonder too, like because you are, when you talk about what you create, it's like, it's so incredible. I mean, you have this communion with your creations that is like so inviting and like lights you up and lights the world up around you, so I wonder what it would be like for you to receive that more, and in doing so, and really in being so, like allowing the world to receive it more as well. Just like, and this is like so not I made a video about this yesterday. It's like when we receive what we actually really are being and putting out into the world, like everything changes, like I've been really, really putting a lot of energy into that this week for me, like just going, okay, really, like what's it going to take for me to acknowledge what I'm actually being and doing and contributing. And my business is like exploding right now, and it's not doing anything different. Avery, yeah, that is a no, right? Hey guys, please go back downstairs.
But I can't drive downstairs.
I don't care. Too bad. Do it another time. Do it in the bathroom. So, yeah.
Up here. Actually, it's right. Never mind.
Avery, it's really truly not allowed on this floor.
I know, I was gonna say that.
Thanks, honey. So does that, and we can.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, and I know.
On some level, that's where I thought I was headed, because I kept feeling like I was butting my head against the same big roadblock.
Right.
Not because of ability, just because it's why am I doing this if it's not fun?
Yeah.
That was really where it was coming from.
Yeah.
I can do this stuff. I'm a software guy, I mean,
right. Yeah. And the willingness, Avery. The willingness to do anything that is required. I mean, this is a huge piece of growing your business. I just saw the first part of your comment, Rachel. But it,
Sure.
The willingness to do whatever it takes is a huge energy that creates business. Like it really is like this tenacity of creation, right? Where you're just like, I don't freaking care what this takes. Like this baby is being birthed into the world, or like this thing that I've been asking for, I'm creating it, right? And the tenacity of that is amazing. Like there is like, and it's really required a lot with business, because a lot of times, things don't show up like we think they will. And then we can go into frustration, and we can go into giving up and quitting and all that. Or you can just go, okay, cool. So that didn't work like I thought it would. What else,
Well, And so this goes back to your discussion about choosing a nanny, for example. You know, in other words, defining how it's going to show up. For me, defining showing up meant me doing it.
Right.
And butting my head against the wall until I was bloody and the wall still didn't give.
Yeah.
As opposed to saying whatever it takes doesn't mean necessarily me doing
it.
It means getting it done.
Exactly.
And that may be other ways to do it.
Yeah, and your willingness to do it is awesome. Like I've been doing that job basically all summer, you know, and actually like for the past 2 years, because I had nannies that didn't really have my back, you know, but I hired them for my kids. I didn't actually hire them for me, you know, so they were like, your kids are great and you're a demanding bitch, you know. And I was like, yeah, I am. Actually, clean my house, please. That's part of the deal, you know. And so, and they were like, I agreed to it, but I don't really want to do it. And so I just went, wow, there's something totally different required here. And I'm so willing to do it. And like at any given moment, I'm like, yes, I'm running my business. And yes, I keep a clean house. And yes, I like all these things are like, I've got it. Like, and I stay up until 2 a.m. and I do what's required and I'm willing to. And then there are those moments where it's like, wow, this actually feels at this point like it would be a really amazing contribution, you know, to add something or someone, right? And so you're gonna do, are you doing Simone's class?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So just so you get, because this is also a taster of the Joy of Business. Joy Business, Access Business 101, which is a 1-day class, and 102, which is a 2-day class. Though we go a lot more into this in those classes where you really can start to, and I'm happy to talk more about it too if you guys have more questions, but adding people to your business and the different energies that every business requires and like so many different things. There's some really cool tools for that. So yeah. I want to look here because there's a couple things on the chat. Rachel, thank you and Avery. I've stopped me so much because of kids, and to see you create through it all is freaking amazing.
Awesome.
If you had my children, you pretty much have. It's either do that or get bowled over. I'm like, yes, I know how to be a bulldozer. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. So what else? What other questions do you guys have?
Heather, I wanted to discuss something.
Yeah.
I think that this is what I'm aware of. To grow my business needs in some way that I have to grow. And so I'm just wondering, like, what would it take for me to step out of the closet, so to speak, and quit hiding and really be able to put myself out there and be willing to receive? Because I think that you receive a lot of energy. You receive a lot and you create a lot because of how much you're willing to receive. So, I mean, that's what I'm in the inquiry in, like, what would it take for me to grow as a person in order to trying to find the words to say what I want to say, but I think you might know what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah, that's been also really big in my world. I've actually been looking at a lot of like just bigger questions and questions that I had not been asking in my business in the past couple of weeks. And this hiding thing is a really interesting, it's an interesting energy. And I didn't even realize that I was kind of doing that too. Catherine's cracking up. Catherine and I did a trade this morning. She's over on the couch giggling because we talked about it. Yeah. And
I don't see you as hiding at all.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? Thank goodness somebody called me on it. I haven't been hiding this week. A week ago, that might have been different. But it's all relative, right? And what I realized, it's because that, like, I had basically gotten I had gotten to a point where I felt like I could create a certain, a certain energy, you know, whatever, in my business. And it was like, I kept asking to go beyond that. And it was like not showing up and not showing up. And so it just was really, and I was sort of like in that banging my head against the wall, like, okay, what the hell is it going to take to change this? You know? And I realized that in the, like, whatever I was looking at around the hiding, it's like, I realized that there was still somewhere that I was making certain judgments and certain, it wasn't even about people, but it was like the potential judgments of others around certain energies, right? Like still more relevant than what I was asking to create. And I just saw all of a sudden, I was like, I have actually totally been stopping myself because I have made those judgments real, true, nasty, like what, like I had somehow told myself that there was a need or a necessity to avoid them. And for me, they were around certain energies. So, and I know we've probably had this conversation before, Janice, but there's a few questions that I've been playing with a lot. One of them is, who or what am I unwilling to be? That if I was willing to be it, would allow all of this to change, or would allow everything I've been asking for to show up and beyond. Yeah. Oh my God. There's puking happening over here. So everything that brings up times a gazillion. We just straight and create it. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Wrong. Good. Bad. Only fuck ventures. Yeah. Being and receiving, they really, they expand each other, and they're actually required. So if there's a receiving that you're not actually willing to have in your world, like, or if you feel like there's a certain amount that I'm willing to receive, and then beyond that, you know, or like I'm willing to receive this, but I'm not willing to receive this, like this type of judgment, but not this type of judgment, right? And interestingly enough, for some people, they're not actually willing to receive the positive judgment. They're more comfortable with the negative. Like they're actually more comfortable being disliked, or, you know, like rather than like having people adore them, you know, which is a whole other thing. Like some people think, well, how could that be, you know? But that is true for some people, because they're whatever points of view they have around that, right? So, so when you look at where sort of like where you're receiving sort of stops, right? When you are willing to stretch into being more, it actually dynamically expands your receiving. So they really go hand in hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, you know, that whole thing about like infinite being, knowing, perceiving, and receiving, like when you are functioning as an infinite being, and this is a more, for those of you who may be listening now or later who might be new to Access Consciousness, this is a conversation that we have in the foundation class, where you really look at, like, what do you function from? Do you function from thoughts, feelings, emotions, and what we call sex and no sex, which is the lower harmonic of receiving, right? Those are all the lower harmonics of being, knowing, perceiving, and receiving. When you're functioning as an infinite being, you are functioning from being, knowing, perceiving, and receiving. So you want to be looking at, and my point of view, and this is where I facilitate from a lot with business, is that this is one of the primary areas to really take a look at. If your business is not expanding, so this is really where you started with your question, Janice. You know, if your business is not expanding, then what are you refusing to be? What are you refusing to receive? What judgments are you refusing to receive? So everything that is, you guys are like, will you please hit the delete button? So everything that is times a godzillion and a half. Godzillion and a half. We destroy and create it all.
Yes.
Yes.
Right, or give that all night and pot potted shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah.
Well,
Cool.
can I say something?
Yeah.
So I'll speak loud. Hopefully you guys can hear. It's like,
Can you hear it, Catherine?
Yeah.
like the so today we were talking, right? And it's like when you asked me that question just now, I was like, fuck, I'm not willing to receive how brilliant I am. I keep, like, we were looking at like how we play pathetic to pretend to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And actually the business magic is in like being the thing you're not willing to be, which is the magic, the brilliance, the brightness, the millionaire, the billionaire, the creator.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so funny, but it's like a tripwire, right? We trip ourselves with that, oh, it's because we're pathetic that like hides what's actually true.
Yeah.
Does that
So
make
you
sense?
go automatically into, yeah. So, and one of the things,
It's insane.
yeah. So, cause there are these automatic response systems that we have that actually, like, they do trip us into separation, like separating from our being, separating from our brilliance, separating from that infinite being that I'm receiving and going into this, right? Into like thinking and emoting and, you know, all that fun stuff. Right, Ron, good, that all my yeah, pathetic has been one of the energies I've been looking at. And I was like, I had no idea that I was kind of had a, like, the pathetic was like a thing, like an energy that I kind of kept around, you know, but it was simultaneously refusing to be it. So it's like, yes, refusing to be the brilliance and the magic, and pathetic, greedy. Like I did a whole video this week about money and how like some of us are like still have this thing of like, if I'm creating consciousness, I can't actually, like, I can't desire to have money. Like that's not a conscious thing, right? And if people know that I want money, then it means that I'm evil, you know, or yeah. So everything that is times the gazillion, and you just trying to create it. Yes. Right, run good battle name, popcorn shirts, with and beyond. Yeah. And so I've been playing with like literally just pulling those energies in, like everything that I've been refusing to be. So greedy, a bitch, you know, pathetic. Like I've been asking, what energy, space, and consciousness can I be to be the greedy guts I truly be? What energy, space, and consciousness can I be to be the bitch, the demon bitch from hell, or the like pathetic, you know, whatever that I truly be? And there's something that has been so incredibly liberating about that for me, to go, yeah, I'm greedy, I'm a bitch, I'm pathetic, I'm all these things. And simultaneously, like, I'm having fun with that energy now of like, sure, I can be that, you know. if the alternate, you know, choice is like to diminish me, you know, and like try, like spend all my energy tucking it over here, you know, then that's a hell of a lot of energy that I have to use to keep myself down, and to keep my business small, and to keep myself from receiving all these judgments. Like that's a lot of energy, you know? And so as soon as you start to go, well, shit, man, like all this stuff over here, like I'm so done with hiding it. And I don't really care who judges me at this point, you know, like bring it on. If that's what is required for me to have all of me, okay, you know, and then boom, the magic. You know, the brilliance, the like, oh, I do an energy pull and like a whole bunch of people sign up for a class or whatever, starts to show up. So what if you could actually be anything and everything? And in doing so and being so, receive anything and everything. So everything that doesn't allow that, we just try and create it.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, battle, name, pop, shirts. With me on.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, everything you just said, can you repeat it?
Yeah, it's being. She just said everything you just said. Can you repeat it? It's being recorded. How does it get better than that? Yeah. So Janice, does that help? Does that open some things up for you?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely create some space in my world. And yeah, so definitely.
Cool. Yeah, and it's like, how much fun can you have, like running headlong into everything you've been avoiding? You know, like that. I've had so much fun this week doing that. I'm like, oh my god, yes, I'll be all of it. I'm happy to be all of it.
Total gold medal bitch.
Gold medal bitch.
just a fine point on that, because I think everybody in this room and in this call, constantly had trips over this.
Yeah.
To what you said about being willing to be the demon bitch from hell, being
Yeah.
a greedy son of a bitch, whatever. The key element there is about receiving that judgment. Because
Yeah.
really, when you think about not being a bitch, what you're really thinking about is being.
You guys can't actually make noise on this level. Okay. There's people listening on a microphone, and your noise is being amplified. Okay. But you need to let everybody else know that too, please. Okay. Thank you.
So
Sorry,
I just want to restate that, because that's what rang, and you closed out with that. But it's really about receiving again.
Yeah.
And receiving that judgment about that.
Yeah.
Because then, you are what you are, no matter what you try to be or not.
Yeah.
So you might as well receive it.
Yeah. And chances are, if there's something that you're like vehemently defending against being, you're not that. You know what I mean? Like chances are it's not actually like it's the people who are like, oh my gosh, I don't want to like disempower people. Am I disempowering people? I don't want to disempower people. That will never
you're getting to that whole
disempower people,
Yeah, you're getting to that whole utopian ideal bullshit about expecting yourself to be this perfect saint, which is impossible.
Yeah,
and you're holding yourself up against that.
Well, and the thing is it's the people that do disempower people that never ask the question. Like, do greedy people ever go, oh my God, I'm so greedy?
Yeah.
No, they don't. Right. So there you go. There's the indicator that you're off the hook.
Yeah.
If you're worried about it,
you think
let
you're
it
crazy
go.
Or not.
Right, you're off the hook. Fuck it, right?
Yeah.
How much fun can you have? Because that's the other thing is like the amount of fun that has shown up in my world around this has just been immense. There's been such a lightness in my world. And my business is just so happy from it. And because it's just like, the amount of energy that it takes to keep all that at bay and defend against it is massive. And the other thing that's so cool about that is that when you start to be more and like really be willing to just play with all energies, the creations, like the things that pop in your world to create in your business and the creativity, it really goes like off the charts. Like there's all these new things and it's like, oh, I could do this and I could do that and I could do this and it's just like I put a bars class on the books for Sunday and I haven't done a bars class since January and I don't do them that often. I was just like, oh, I'm going to do a bars class. And I have not really even like told anybody about it, but I have all these people just signing up, calling me, signing up. It's just like, that's the magic, of like, I'm willing to be more and the ease of that for me, I'd way rather like just be more and receive more than be like, I have to work harder to market my business, And you do, there is that too. It's like, but yeah, you do have to let people know what you're up to. But if you're doing it from this push and this like necessity, it's a very different energy than like, hey, So, yeah. So what else? Like we just answered all the problems of the world, so we're good.
We're just a little fried.
Oh, Janice says I have a PhD in being pathetic. That's so funny. You might have written that a while ago, but I love that. Okay, Aaron in Alaska. Everything is energy to me now. I don't register people names, money. I perceive energies that will create more. So I'm just going to ask, what can I ask to actually play with people and bodies? LOL. I don't make it significant or wrong. There's just space. So I'm like, add more. Is there anything you can contribute around this? I don't want to leave the people out of the creation. I'm not totally clear on your question, Erin. I mean, I get the energy of it. Let me just, no, it never is. Yeah, cool. So everything that is, we destroyed and created. Right, wrong, good, mental, and put towards the dance. Okay, she says, we create, there's space, then what? Cool. When energy can, Okay, so that's a different question from Rachel. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, so you don't, so we create their space, then what? Okay, so Erin and anybody else that this applies to, are you willing to actually really play in this reality? That's so light and fluffy.
Get out the waiters.
Cheers. Right, wrong, good, bad, online, back, short, supposed to be honest. She goes, what the heck? And LOL, shoot. LOL, yeah, cool. I just heard an unmute sound. You know, a lot of us, Erin, you just made everybody in the room squirm. How's it better than that? Yeah. When you are not playing in this reality, like when you aren't willing to actually include this reality in what you're creating or like interact with it in any way, right? You're eliminating the contribution that it can be. And I mean, so if we look at money, right? I mean, one of the purposes of business is to create money, right? If you're not willing to have a business that is at all relevant in this reality, good luck making money, right? Because people are going to be like, hi, like, or they may not even see you. I mean, sometimes that's happened to me where I'm like really like so much space, or one time I was on a really, really potent telecall with Dane at the grocery store, and like 15 people ran into me, like bumped into my body because they couldn't fucking see me, you know. And I was like, okay, like I want to be visible here, you know. So there's a way that so many of us separate from this reality with what we're being and what we're creating, because we sort of are like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with all the conclusions and the computations and the limitation and all that stuff, right? And, but this, so I had a conversation with Dane about this one time, and he was saying, it's almost like you sort of like hover, like you sort of hover above this reality and you like dip in to like pull the energies that you can create with, that people can see, that people can like, hi honey, how are you? And feel free to like move furniture or whatever. That people can actually like grab a hold of in a way. And it's not about making yourself like solid or defined but if you really could be anything and play with anything, then, are you willing to like tell people what they need to hear in order to choose to come and have a session with you, you know, or like be salesy in what you're doing, or like risk that, you know, or you know, like find out what the algorithms of Facebook are so that you can run a really brilliant Facebook ad that people see, you know, or whatever it is that you do. Like, you have to engage in some way with this reality in order to have a business here. So everything that brings up, and everywhere you have been trying dynamically to avoid that, and really just sort of hoping you'd win the lottery so you didn't have to deal. We destroy and uncreate it.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, online, pack, short, ways and beyond. Now, one thing that I love playing with is, what would it be like to make this reality my bitch? Right? So with what you're like, how can you use it to your advantage, right? How can you use all of the insanity that you're aware of to your total advantage in the creation of your business? Kids, boys, you're being too loud, even down there. Thanks. And what if it doesn't mean that you have to like get caught up in it or wrapped up in it or become part of it or believe it to be real and true, but that you can actually engage with it in a way that's really going to work for you. And it's sort of like at that point, then you actually have people who are willing to listen to you, you know, who actually might be inspired by what you're doing, by what you're creating, who might receive the gift of what you're doing and creating, you know. And I know for me, this, like, I as a Joy Business facilitator, we have this really amazing program where we can pay a monthly fee, and they do a lot of promotion for us. And so we've been doing all this PR, and it's been really, and when it first like came available, it was like, I brought up all this stuff for lots of people and brought up all this stuff for me. And I was like, but then I went, well, this is totally what my business has been asking for. And so I dove into it and I said, yes. And now then there's all this PR stuff, you know, and they're sort of like, well, what do you do? And what do you want to focus on? And I'm like, I do everything. Like I do everything. You have body stuff, I do that. You have business, money, family, relations, I do it all, you know? And it's sort of like, okay, well, that doesn't really work in this reality. Like you actually, in order to like do PR, like you have to have a story, you have to have this, you have to like speak to people, like to their points of view, however insane they may be, however limited and contracted and conclusionary they may be. Like you actually do have to speak to those things in order to be the invitation, right? I mean, and you can be the invitation like without opening your mouth, but to get people's attention, because most people don't actually function from the space that everybody in this conversation functions from, you know. And what invitation can we be for more people to know that this is a possibility, you know, but you have to actually like bring it to them, you know, in a way that they can hear it. And for a lot of people, that is the stuff that isn't working in their lives, you know, speaking to that, like the topics, you know, the like my body isn't working, or, you know, my health or my weight or my relationship or money, or, you know, those big areas of life where people are not, they're not having what they would like to have. And then there's all this, there is this like space of being that you can be with, you know, that doesn't have words. That is this dynamic pull, you know, that draws people to you. But it's not Erin, does that help? And if you want to get more specific with what you're creating, we can look at that. I know that was kind of a little bit more general, but she did say, LOL, well, drafts. How does it get better? What else is possible? Cool. So if you have more, feel free to type it in the chat. Rachel just said a while back, what energy can I be to be an irresistible invitation to bodies and classes, or as Gary says, people who are crazy enough to pay me. Yeah. Yeah, so there's a few different things. Actually, there's a really fun clearing that I want to give you guys about this, but if I can find it, where would it be? Let's see. Oh, here it is. Okay, I love this clearing. What have you made so vital, valuable, and real about the bums that are not on seats that keeps you from creating a class that has too many bums there to overfill the seats you do have? That's from Gary. And everything that is times the gazillion, we destroy it and create it. Yes. Right, Rowan, give that online shirts with me on. And I can send this to you guys when I send you the recording. If somebody would be willing to just remind me, because I know I'll forget. So what have you made so vital, valuable, and real about the bums that are not on seats that keeps you from creating a class that has too many bums there to overfill the seats you do have? And everything that is times the godzillion, we destroy it and create it. Yes. Right, I'll give that all in shirts with me on. Yeah. Or like a waiting list for your products, you know, like, or whatever that is for you, whatever your business is. Yeah, and oh, here's another one that's kind of fun. What have you decided you have to wait for, pray for, and hope for that keeps you from creating the classes that will give you everything you require? So everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy it and create it.
Yes.
Right on, give that all name by puncher.
You might want to have part things.
I know. It's like I just given out too. Yeah, business. It's a very light and fluffy topic, which is so funny because I love facilitating it. But yeah. So what have you decided you have to wait for, pray for, and hope for that keeps you from creating the classes that will give you everything you require? Everything that is, or the business that will give you everything you require. So everything that is times a gazillion, we destroy and create it.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all in, and this is where, like, I was just chatting with somebody today about failure, and it's sort of like maybe we do one thing, or we like put a class out or something, and then nobody shows up, and then we're like, you know, and it's this whole thing about failure, and we don't want to have that again, and we don't want to create that again. So then we sort of create all this stuff around it, and we don't even want to put another class in the book. So everything that brings up, everything that is, everything you've decided in your world to be true about you in regards to creating your business and creating classes, we destroy and create that. Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, puck, five, shirts, goods, vans. Actually, the other thing I'll send you guys is I did kind of a series this summer on my radio show about business, which I always kind of talk about that, but it was specifically about creating classes. Like there was one about creating bigger classes and creating global classes, and I had some really cool people. So I'll send you guys a few links to those shows because there was some great information too. And then is there anything, Rachel, that and if you, I don't know if you can, Rachel, but if you want to chat, pop on and unmute or whatever and chat, we can do that. But is there anything that you are defending against, or proving that, trying to prove that you're not, or that you are, or refusing to receive? Pathetic. It's the pathetic class. How much fun can we have being pathetic?
Not really.
I know. I know.
No, I'm going to be fucking brilliant.
Catherine's judging everybody over there. She sent her that one just for Janice. That's so funny. It's for Janice and Rachel and me and yeah. Cool. So everything that is, can we destroy it and create it?
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, puck, five, shirts, goods, vans. Okay, now since this has come up multiple times, I want to ask you guys this. If pathetic is your thing, or whatever, I can't create, or whatever your thing is, you know, that energy that you go to. Yes, Michelle, I will in a second. Whatever that thing is that you go to, that energy that you go to, right? What is well, let me ask you, two questions. What is the value of that you haven't acknowledged before? This ain't no taster. It never is, actually.
Never.
So everything that is, and everything that brings up, we destroy and create it.
Yes.
Right, wrong, give that on life, red shirts, goes down. And the other similar question, different energy. What do you love about it? Sorry. There's wine in the kitchen. And he's chugging. And he's chugging my sangria, my famous sangria. So everything that is times I got something we destroy and create it.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, hot, hot, shorts, goes down. So here we are back to the conversation of being, right? Because it's there are all these things that we keep as these little treasures, right, in our world, of the pathetic that I could just pull out of my back pocket anytime, which is really actually a back door that you're well, I can always go to pathetic. And then I'll just be cozy. I'll be all cozy.
Drinking my beer, my 40 and a cozy. Manufacture a Heather cozy.
And it'll have like a big P on it. Oh my god, I love it. Yeah. And it is, again, like, it's those things where we're like, this back door, like, and it's so unconscious most of the time, but it's like, Rachel just like, since they can't taste your sangria, can you send the recipe? It's like, I want to make it now. Yes, I will. Yeah. But yeah, it's like we have these energies that we are like our default go-to, like, so that I can slip out of the potency, or like just when you're about to outcreate yourself, I'm gonna create something that's gonna slip me right back into pathetic, or, you know, so is it actually time in your world and in your business to choose beyond that? Cool.
Yeah, that's not scary at all.
Yeah, I know. So everything that brings up times a gazillion, where you just right and create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, all name, puck, pud, shorts, boys and beyonds. Yeah. And what's amazing about that, like being scary, right, is a lot of times what I've seen is when I'm like right at the sort of like precipice of like a new space of being, like really, because that's when you start to look at like the stuff you haven't been willing to look at about you, you're at the precipice of a new space of being, you know, and you can either just, you know, go, and then all of a sudden it's like magic and, you know, money and whatever, like, or you can pull out, right, and slip back and go out the back door, right? What I have found for me, and I think this is probably true for other people too, is that a lot of times it's like the moment before the choice to go that is actually the scariest, right?
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as we make the choice and we're like, fuck that, you know, like, I'm having it. I'm having me. I'm having more. I'm being more. Boom. You're in a different space. Like, so much opens up. And so what is the choice that you've been avoiding that if you would actually choose it and be it and have it, would allow you to have what you've been asking for and what you've been asking to be, and maybe haven't even known that you were asking to be it. So, and everything that is times a godzillion, and we just try and create it.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, puck, pud, shorts, boys and beyonds. So Rachel said, what can I ask to have more clarity about what's next and what to create? Yeah, cool. So, I mean, what would be fun, right? Like, what would be just ridiculously fun for you to create? And also, well, and actually, I want to just bring up, because sometimes it actually, like, if money is a thing for you, sometimes it is, it's like the avoidance of like the fun and the joy of having money that actually stops. Like, you might be wanting to create something and you might be like, oh, I want to do this class because it's going to create more consciousness and money isn't important or whatever, you know? But what if, like, I don't know why this is coming up to just say, but it's like, what if part of what would be really fun for you to create is a lot of money?
Yeah.
You know? And so anywhere that you're not willing to include that in the joy of creation, like, I'm going to make money. I'm going to create money, right? And cash is like a slightly different energy than money too. I've been asking for cash lately and money, but they're different energies, right? So anywhere that you've like really like put that out of the equation, yeah, money come, money come, money come. Because it's not politically correct or conscious or whatever. And anywhere that you're like, in doing so, really diminishing the joy of what you're creating, will you just throw in and create that? Right, around give all puck shirts was it? Because for some people, and not everybody loves money, right? So some people really hate money, you know, and if that's true for you, then it's a good thing to look at, you know, because you won't create it if you hate it, right? It'd be like having a relationship with somebody that you hate. I mean, a lot of people do that. That's a story for another time. Yeah.
It's another class.
Yeah.
It requires gloves.
It requires. Awesome.
Sorry.
Heather
unlocked me today.
Yeah, we broke some shit up. But it's like, if it's exciting for you to have money, if it's fun for you to have money, like if that would actually be like a ridiculously fun energy to have more of in your life, and cash, money and cash and wealth. If you're not including that in like the joy and excitement and fun of creation, then you're diminishing the energy that you be and that you can contribute to what you're creating. So I just, for whatever reason, that popped to say. But when you're asking about what's next, what to create next, receiving rather than creating, very ridiculously exciting to receive and to create and to enjoy money. Yeah, right? So everything that doesn't allow you to include that energy in what you're being and what you're creating and in your business, and actually to allow yourself to be seen as somebody who loves money. Like in this reality, that is just a no-no, right? Like, and if you have a business that's about consciousness, like you better not be asking for money, because that's not this, you know, like I'm just saying in this reality, it's like, that's not actually, they don't actually go together, right? They're sort of mutually exclusive. And I see that a lot. Like I do a lot of yoga, and that's a really big one in the yoga community. Like in this access world, it's a little more like money is more of a conversation. In the yoga world, at least what I've been exposed to, it's, you can't talk about it. Like you don't need it. You're above it. You're, yeah. Yeah. I just want to like contribute and right. So
totally burnt out.
Yeah. Right. So everything that is, and everything that actually keeps you from creating the reality with money that you actually have, that you know is possible, and yeah, we destroy and then create that. Yes. Right. And anywhere that you've killed your business, your cash flows or your money flows, prove that you don't need it, want it, desire it, or love it. We destroy it and then create that. Yes. Right. On Gavanale and Pakpad shirts with me on. So when you're Rachel. Yes, and interestingly, I've made me not create money, but having it come through other people, parents, hubby, etc. Waiting to receive rather than creating, very ridiculously. Oh, I missed that part. Oh, except for Kundalini Yoga, they love money and prosperity. Yeah. Yeah, funny. I was the Kundalini Yoga teacher for a while, and there's still some points of view there. Yeah. So, and the thing is, Rachel, like when you create money through other people, it can be one of those places that people won't acknowledge when they do create money through other people. It's sort of like a really easy place to diminish the brilliance of what you're creating and being in other people's lives. Because a lot of us do, like our presence in people's lives creates money in their world, right? And that might also be money in your world, like if they're contributing money to you. But it's somehow not like legitimate or valued because you're not going and making it, you know? Oh, and then other people use it to control what I can or can't choose. Okay, cool. So Rachel, what's the value of that? Like, what is the value of allowing other people to control you with money? Arg, she says. So everything that is times a godzillion, you destroy and create it. Yes. Great run, give battle, name Pakpad shirts with meons. And what do you love about it? And because if you're willing to look at that, then you can change it. Everybody, no, over here is the barf section, and over here is the crying section. The crying and the chugging section.
So
yeah.
So it is. There was something before that last round of questions that triggered a little bit about the committing to your life conversation.
Yeah.
So can you kind of
Mm-hmm.
tease that out a little bit,
Mhm.
please? Thank you.
I have to chug now. No. If we're gonna talk about
You are on
that.
that side of the room.
Hold on 1 second.
But you're on that side of the room.
She says nothing and everything and good thing I'm in a car, roll down the window and blah. I love you, Rachel. Well, and what's so cool is like this is the stuff that we don't want to look at, right? And so you're welcome.
She's not gonna eat.
Yeah, right. Eat after because there's a lot of food, right? But it is when you do that you have freedom. Like it no longer runs your life. There's this stuff runs your fucking life. And then we pretend like it's not there, and then we don't love it, and we don't value it, and we like play victim to it, right? Yeah. So everything.
No.
What are you talking about? I don't do that. Right, wrong, give out only
Well, it's really hard to get.
I have a question.
Mhm.
So, like, I'm looking at my own life, right? Like, going through a divorce, going through a huge fucking transition.
Yeah.
And we talked about it.
Yeah.
But it's like watching in my head all the conclusions of if I create more then,
Uh-huh.
which is a lie, right? And I'm literally sitting here, I've known it, but I haven't called myself out on my own lie. So it's like, what energy, what's required to be it's like the vulnerability of falling apart while also the vulnerability of creation and not having a story.
Right. Well, everywhere that you've just cited that they're different.
Oh shit. I can't even hear you. La, la, la.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all that, hot, hot, short, supposed to be on.
The vulnerability of creation and the vulnerability of falling apart is separate.
What is falling apart?
Oh, fuck.
We're falling together.
Yeah, yeah. You said you're falling apart.
Yeah. So,
Damn it.
so anything and everything that you are desiring to prove to you,
To me is the biggest thing.
yeah, and to others.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just trying to create that.
Wow, so separate,
We're
yes.
gonna do that on the pictures for you.
So separating falling apart and separating creation is a key way to stay separate from my creations.
And everything else.
Yeah, and you and yeah.
You should do that some more.
No, this is the bark section.
That's
Can you
not
guys
the city
hear?
to hang out with snowboarders.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear that.
Because what is like, yeah, and I kind of told you this today, but I've been playing, like, I've just been really this week, like really demanding just so much more, that I be more, that I receive more, that I push my barriers down, that I create more. And there's been all these different energies that have come up, and there's been like, woo, and la, and that's like a really easy space to create, when you're just like, ha, I feel great, and la, 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 it's just like, boom, like, creation just unfolds, right?
Right, like while you're going through a divorce. Like that's I'm seeing how that story is killing.
Yeah.
And so I've been tripping
Right.
myself up with like what's awareness
Mm-hmm.
and what's actually like the lie I'm perpetrating
Yeah.
to stop creating.
Yeah. Because if you have the point of view of like, I can only create when I'm fabulous, whatever that is, right?
Well, it's
Or
more just
that
I don't want him to fucking take.
Right. And what,
Yeah, don't be a humanoid.
well,
I've already
she's
done that
not.
twice.
I know.
Yeah.
That's my point.
We're trying to learn.
Right. So, okay. So are you willing to fucking lose it all?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, now, but anywhere that you've decided that losing it all is like the willingness to lose it all means that you will,
Well, no, I just saw it. I've been losing me, trying to not lose it all while losing it all because I don't have what makes me happy.
You don't have you, which is what creates.
Which is my creations.
Right. So everything that is, all the decisions,
You're welcome, everybody.
all the projections, expectations, separations, judgments, rejections, we just started to create all of that.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, hot,
This is the information I was looking for earlier, but I couldn't even go there.
Yeah. Cool.
Wow.
Yeah, and like this whole, like the space of like falling apart, like if you're falling apart, whatever that is, right? Can you actually, like, one thing you can be asking is, what would it take for this to make me money, right? Or like, what can I create with this? Or what contribution can this be with my business? Or what contribution can this be to the world or to me or to, so.
Well, I created 4 classes last night and had 5 signups by 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like going, okay.
Yeah.
And none of them were the divorce handbook.
Fucking run. Create.
She's like, I'll teach anything with that.
No, I will
I'm
teach
just
it.
kidding.
Why not?
Yeah.
Fucking make me money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool. And that is changing
Cool.
everything I'm trying to access today.
Awesome.
Yeah, we can feel it over here.
Yeah. They're like, really? I didn't notice.
Not even throwing up.
Thank you.
So okay, so there's the thing here from Rachel. Gary just hollered at me for doing things for fun, not money, rather than both. Okay, and cool. So what could you like? What fun could you have with money? And are you willing to piss them off and make them uncomfortable and lose your relationship and and also like totally change it too with the potency that you be? How can I unlove it? I'm not sure what you're talking. I don't know if you're talking about money or. And yes, I've cognitively chosen, so incongruent. If you want to say more about that, Rachel, go for it. But I'm wondering if this commitment to your life conversation is part of that, which is Reverie was asking about that, and that's actually something that's come up in the past year and a half in Access. Being committed to your life, and it really changes everything with what you can what becomes available to you with creation is huge when you're actually willing to thanks guys when you are committed to your life, what is available to you to create exponentializes. Like, so you have, if you look at it like this, so commitment to your life is where there's an energy of like closing your back doors. So being like pathetic doesn't actually create what it is that I truly would like to create. So I'm going to close that back door, and sabotage and, conclusion, judgment, right? All those things are like back doors. It's like, oh, if this doesn't work out, I can just conclude or judge or compute or whatever. And so any limitation, any story that you do, people are squirming in the room. It takes you out of the space of being committed to your life. And when you're committed to your life, you're actually, it's not about committing to you, because we all have some very interesting ideas about what we are, like what I am, right? But it's literally like commitment to what you can create. So everything this is bringing up times together. We're just trying to create it. Right, wrong, good, bad, only hot bunch, response beyond. Cool. Yeah. And so when when we were talking earlier about the like willingness to do whatever it takes, that is an energy that is part of commitment to your life, where you're like, I fucking hate connecting, but I'm gonna do it. Because this thing that I'm creating, these amazing creations, they want to be out in the world, and they're coming through me, and they're asking me to create them, and I'm gonna fucking get them out into the world, right? So whatever it takes, however unfun it may be, what's that?
Oh, but like the videos that have been asking to be made for like the last year, and I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so the thing is that like, so she was saying the videos that have been asking to be made for the past year where she's going, so, because the thing is like the willingness to fail is actually also part of commitment to your life, right? If you're not willing to fail, then there's not a lot that you can create. Like you could color in the lines, you could maybe do 2 + 2, you'll do the stuff that you know that you'll be able to do perfectly or well or whatever, that's probably about this big, right? Yeah, so everything that brings up, barf section, right around, give out all the puck punch shirts, let's be honest. Yeah. So it's like, what if commitment to your life is actually like this messy space of creation where you're like, I don't get to do pathetic, I don't get to do judgment, like that's not actually going to create more for me. I'm truly committed to what I would actually like to create. Like, what would you actually like to use your life energy to create, right? That, and when you start to look at that, and it's not about having a purpose, right? But it's just like, what's the possibility that you be, that is available? Like, it's available to you, and it may not ever show up through anybody else ever, and it's like, so, and you don't have to be it, you don't have to bring it to the world, but it might be fun, because when you're being you and you're being that, like, it is a lot of fun, if you're willing to just be like, all right, everybody in your judgments, fuck it, but we have all these back doors where we go, well, this back door lets me get out of, it lets me get out of like the potency of that, or making other people uncomfortable with me having that much joy. I mean, joy and fun, like, holy shit, you want to make people uncomfortable? Be happy,
And have money.
Yeah, be happy and wealthy.
And you're eccentric instead of crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, and like love your body and have a fabulous relationship where there's no control going on. And right, like, and people are just like, I mean, like a lot of people that don't do access and don't have these conversations are like incredibly confused by me. Like, it was so funny today. I have to tell you guys this. I went and got Coke for tonight. So I had a 6-pack in each hand, and I'm like walking to my car, and I see my yoga teacher, and I was just like, yes, I have a 12-pack of Coke right here in my hands, and I'm gonna drink it. And it was so funny. It was just like this moment of like, I'm a total anomaly, like I'm like this kick-ass yogi and like super strong, and I have this really dynamic yoga practice, and I'm like pumping Coke, it's just so funny. So anyway, like, are you willing to be a total anomaly to people? Are you willing to be so confusing and triggering and make people uncomfortable? And because if you're not, then you won't be committed to your life, right? You won't be committed to what it is that you can create. Yeah. So everything that brings up times the godzillion, we destroy to create.
Yeah.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all name, puck, pud, shorts, boys and beyonds. And here's a new piece that I just got from the Lies, Lines, and Manipulations class that just happened in Access about a couple months ago. There was a really dynamic conversation about this in that class, really epic class. And they were talking about information, because with a lot of times with access tools, we're looking for more awareness, right? And awareness and information aren't mutually exclusive, but the different energy. And like, you actually there is information that you require, like with creating your business. Like, it might be information about a particular system that would make your business easier, or it might be information about, how to set something up so that it's automated marketing, or, like the pragmatics and like the, like things that you can, what do I want to say? Like the more sort of practical stuff that you institute in your business. And it can also be like information about other people or other people's points of views, or how to use that to your advantage or whatever. So there's lots of information that we have available to us and not available to us. And there's a lot of information that we have from other lifetimes even that we've had before, but we don't always have even now, right? And they were talking, Gary and Dane were talking about commitment to your life and how like most people who have been in this conversation maybe have about a 20% commitment to their life, right? And so if you're 20% committed to your life, what does that create? I mean, certainly it will create more than 0, right?
Maybe.
What's that?
Maybe less.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah.
But Gary was saying there, when you step into, and actually it was interesting, he was saying at least a 50% commitment. Like he said, 100% commitment. A lot of people like feel like it would just burn them up. Like they couldn't even handle it because there's an intensity of presence that's required for you to be 100% committed to your life. It's like so even if we just looked at 50%, or like 51%, right? And he was saying that when you are committed to your life in that way, there is a host and a universe of information that's available to you that was not available to you before. And this was huge for me because I've had all this awareness of information that I've had, my being has had in other lifetimes of like business and money and creation, and that I've had like a lot of moments of like sort of frustration of like, and I didn't even realize that it was this sense of like, I can't access it, right? Like there's all this information that I've known before, I can't access it. But what would it be like if I was fully committed or 51% committed to my life? Like what information would instantly be available to me? And actually, I will say that in the past week, since I've been playing with that, like I chose it. I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how I'm going to do this or be this. I'm choosing it. So much information has been coming into my world, and awareness and new energies and new possibilities. So what information do you know is available to you, but you haven't been able to access it? And everything that doesn't allow you to be committed to your life in such a way that you could access it, we destroy and create that.
Yes.
Right, wrong, good, bad, all name, puck, pod, shorts, with me on. So does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a world-rocking conversation.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh, wow. How are you guys doing on the stream? Hey, Durango! Who else? I'm not even sure. Like, let me do this. And I'm still, yeah, so a lot of people are off
It's almost too quiet.
video, but
It's almost too quiet.
so yeah, what question, does anybody on the stream have any questions or anything you want to look at, or?
I've got something if there's a long.
Oh yeah, you were gonna ask something. Okay, so I'll let you guys ponder that for a moment, and Tom has a question, then I'll come back to you.
It's just kind of a personal pondering about failure and something which you've triggered. And that is, it's the old Wayne Gretzkyism, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
But is failure only defined as making a choice and somehow, quote unquote, interpreting that as flopping on your face? Or is failure something else? And of course, the definition of anything, I don't believe in failure, first off.
It's a judgment.
Yeah,
right?
but there's this current, this current reality. We define failure certain ways, going bankrupt, whatever. So the point is, an exercise that kind of hit me, and I'm not real sure it makes sense to anyone else, but we were climbing with this fellow one day, and we were sport climbing, it's easy stuff. And, took a fall in the last bolt. And he said, did you fall or did you decide not to go for it? So the question then becomes, what are the difference in the two consequences? You still fell.
Yeah.
And one, you didn't try. And the other, you didn't.
Well, I love that, because there's a back door there, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you decide not to go for it, that's the back
you
door.
Took the back door.
You're like, exactly. I'm on the rock.
Yeah.
I gotta go, so.
They're both falling.
Right.
So what's the difference?
Right.
What do you do?
Yeah.
And yet we still choose to fall a lot of times, as opposed to just reaching
and we still go for it like with everything that we've got and it still doesn't always show up like we were hoping it would, you know? And that to me is like the Rachel says, may I have a sangria now, please?
We switched to margaritas.
We're doing tequila now.
Straight shots.
That's awesome. But if failure were truly just a judgment, what could you create? What back doors could you close? What commitment could you be to your life and what you're creating? And like, what would your life be like if you chose? And you can do that now or tomorrow or next week or never. But if you chose to not actually have failure in the equation as a possibility. Yeah. And what this has me look at is this, like, choice creates awareness, right? So failure, what if failure wasn't failure? It was a choice that created more awareness, you know? Like I have this incredible conversation with a woman today, who told me her story of like where she's been in her, like what's gone on in her life, you know, and from like having this amazing life and retiring and having millions to like losing it all and all this crazy stuff going down. And it was just like, she was just like, I'm so great. Like she was so happy and so lit up and alive. And it's just like, to me, that's like choice creates awareness, you know, go for it. You know, like Gary Douglas talks about losing everything 4 times in his life, right? Losing everything, right? And starting over. And the awareness that comes from that, you know, not only for this lifetime, but like your being gets to have it. Like your being gets to have it when you're in this body or not in this body, right? And to me, like the ultimate security, shall we say, is your capacity to create. Right? Because there's no like monetary system or currency or economic reality that is guaranteed to last, right? Like the US dollar could plummet or the whatever, like it could all be bye-bye, you know? If you have a capacity to create and you trust your capacity to create.
It's an infinite wealth.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. To me, that's the wealth of being. Where you have all of you and you get to be all of you and you get to receive and you get to like, and then the awareness that you get to have from there is like, you will have the awareness that you require in whatever's like, if, you know, what's it called? That volcano in Yellowstone goes off in the whole, yeah. And like, we turn into ash, you know, or whatever. Like, it's like, you have question, choice, possibility, contribution. You always have that if you're willing to be it, if you're willing to have it and use it. So, and closing the back doors and committing to your life, it gives you the wealth of that, like the incredible, insane, abundant wealth of that has nothing to do with money. But allows you to create fuckloads of it if you want, right? So, yeah. What else? Or are we done? We might be done. Everybody's like, I can't even hold her phone in her hands.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Hi, streamers. What's going on over there? Do you guys have questions? Yeah, I mean, we may be done. So, were you gonna unmute yourself, Kim? No. Yes, no.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So I have a disconnect between create and money. Like I can create food, relationships, fun, but the money part, does that come in a different way? Not to expect that it to come and just get the energy of creating like a painting or whatever you create,
Right.
but not expect to get paid for it, or how does the money?
Do you ask for it?
No.
Do you create what you do ask for? Does it show up?
Yeah.
How cute are you?
But like, if you're creating like a meal or like something that you wouldn't think you'd get paid for, like I wouldn't think to ask, how am I to get paid for making dinner tonight, or making a beautiful room, or a painting, or working with.
Yeah, and it's not like you're asking, like, I mean, you can ask, hey, what would it take for this to make me money? I love that question, actually. Like, I ask that in really weird situations, and it does. Like, it's cool how it shows up.
But it's going to show up different than I think.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, like, do you, well, okay, so do you have you done that financial awareness exercise where you actually look at what you require financially?
A little bit. Yeah, I have done it once. Pathetic.
Yeah. Okay. So for all the judgments of that, we just trying to figure it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it's a great thing to do, you know, at different points in your life, because it will change dynamically, you know.
Okay.
And so you may want to do it again, right? And just look at, like, what do I actually require from my life? What do I require from it? What does my business require? And add 20% to that, so you've got money to put in a 10% account. Add taxes to that, like. And what's interesting is when people do that exercise, usually they discover that they require a lot more than they thought they did. But then you can start asking for it. Because if you don't really know what you require, then you don't know what to ask for. And I actually had this really interesting thing where I did this I was asking for a certain number every month. And I at the end of the year last year, I went, okay, I'm actually gonna look at everything that I've created this year, like not just the money that shows up on my like profit and loss statement, you know, but like the equity in my house, and you know, money that people have given to me, or like classes that I got to contribute to that I got for free or whatever. So I just looked at if I looked at really like all the money that has come into my world in all these different ways. And what was amazing is that it was exactly, when I divided it by 12, like I looked at it for the year and then I divided it by 12, it was exactly the number I had been asking for. Meanwhile, I've been telling myself that I didn't create it, that I could never create it, that it was too much to be asking for it. Like, and I went, oh, I totally fucking did it, you know? And one of the things that I got from that was also this awareness of cash, like, and Dane has talked about this recently, and so that's opened some things up for me too. But actually asking for cash, because it's a different energy than money. Like money is, Gary did this Becoming Brilliant with Money telecall back in, I think it was in November, where he talked about the distinction between cash, money, and wealth. And there are three different energies. Right. And so you want to be clear on what you're asking for. Right. So money, he was saying money is like what you require to, it's sort of that, like, what do you require to run your life, pay your bills, etc. You know? Wealth is like the having, like the energy of having what you have, like the wealth that you've like accumulated and that you have. It could be your house and other things. And he said cash is the liquidity of possibility. And I love that. And it was like, oh, it's a totally different energy, right? And a lot of times when we feel like we don't have money, it's like we don't have this liquidity of possibility that we know we could have, that cash actually can create in our world, where it's like, oh, I could do this, I could create this, I could, you know, like, oh, I could buy this land, or I could do this, or I could take this class or whatever. So if you look at and when I was like, okay, cool. So I've been judging that money didn't show up as cash because the value of my house went up like more than I even thought was at all remotely possible in a year since I bought it last September. But I was sort of judging that I didn't have all this cash that I had been asking for, but I hadn't been asking for cash. So what would it be like to actually ask for an amount of cash that would be really fun for you, that includes everything you want to do, the classes you want to take, the trips you want to take, the things you want to do, the, investments you might want to make, whatever. And I wonder what would show up.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
What's for dinner?
Money pie. What is that?
Apricots with goat cheese and lavender and pecans.
Oh my God. Hello. Okay. Yummy. That sounds
Good.
Jennifer, did you have a question? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm like, you're popping. She's like, no, don't see me. Hi, cutie. Who's that? It's an adorable little blondie there.
That's my son.
Aw, he's adorable.
Thank you. I have lots of questions, but I don't know where to start usually. So I'm new to all this. I think this is just great that you're doing this, and
cool.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. I'm so glad you were here. And really, this is actually like kind of an advanced conversation for someone who's new. I mean, not, whatever that is, like, it doesn't have to mean anything, but I'm so glad you're here. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I own my own. I run my own business too. So this is great.
What's your business?
I'm a health and fitness coach.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Where do you live?
Where do I live?
Yeah.
In Alaska.
Oh, cool. So you're not with Aaron and Sarah. Are you somewhere
I'm
else?
not with them. No. They're in Anchorage. I'm in Wasilla. So, but I know Aaron.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Wait, we're gonna go like chug sangria or something. I want you to eat. You need to eat, even if you're not hungry. You have to eat. My ginormous spread out there. Cool. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for coming and being online. And for those of you who are listening after the fact, I hope you enjoyed it. I want to just invite you guys, if this is an exciting, fun conversation to you, there's some really cool things coming up around business stuff. Simone Milicis, who has been a huge contribution to me with business. She's the Joy of Business creator. She's the worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness, and really, really brilliant with business. She's actually coming to Denver September 1st through 3rd. Thank you. What?
And then
so yeah, she'll be here for the 1st through the 3rd of September. She's doing the Access Business 101 class, which is a 1-day class. And then she's doing the Access Business 102 class, which is a 2-day class right after that. And she's also going to be live streaming it. So if you are anywhere in the world, you can come and join us, whether you are in Denver or not. And I'm really excited for that class. She's really she has a very different point of view on business, and the way she facilitates is even very different than me. Which is it's fun playing with different facilitators. So, and I also, and some of you know about this and have even done it, but I have this program, the Generative Business Pods, and actually Kim's coming to play. I'm so excited. But this is a program that I really created. It's a 6-month business creation intensive, basically, where you're on the phone with me pretty much once a week. And I really created it for people who want this conversation to be their reality and would like to have this very regular support with that. Weekly calls, there's a Facebook group, so you could be chatting with people and connecting with people every day if you would like, around creating your business with these tools and really creating from question and from being and receiving and all of that. One of the purposes for me of creating the business pods was actually to give people this space where they could have that expansion of being as like the ground that they create their businesses from, and using these tools. And we do talk about marketing, and we do technological support, and we do creating emails and whatever people are asking for. But like the ground of it, like the sort of primary conversation, or the place that we're always sort of going back to, is like, who are you being, and what are you willing to receive, and what can you create when you can be more of you? And what if the more that you be, the more your business grows and thrives and flourishes? And so it's a really cool program. I love it. I love Joan's shaking her head over there. It basically, the logistics are, I do 2 calls every month where I'm actually delivering a topic. It might be creating systems in your business. It might be marketing. It might be the energetics of creation. It might be including your body in your business. And we go all over the map with it, and it's really fun. And then there's 2 pod calls a month where you're grouped with 4 other people. And so there's a group of 5, and you're together for the whole 6 months, twice a month on these calls. And you actually get to come and bring your questions and go, this is what I'm doing in my business. This is what I need help with. This is what I'm looking at. This is what I'd like to create. This is where I'm stuck. And it might be like, my kids are driving me crazy and I can't create. And so then we look at that, right? And these pods are just this like magical playground that where like these conversations, because everybody sort of gets a turn, so you get to be facilitated by me, and your pod mates are listening and contributing, and the conversation goes, and it turns into this like magical creation where you're really like celebrating each other and contributing to each other. So it's just this incredible space. And one of the things too that I was a big part of my world with creating it was really, really desiring a playground for business creation with these tools that had no trace of competition, where people could contribute to each other truly and super dynamically. And it has been that. Like, there's never been a moment of competition in these groups. So I'm starting another one. The registration is open for it now. We're going to start September 7th, and it probably will fill up. We have a lot of people interested this time. Janice says, do it. You won't regret it. Thank you, Janice. And
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
About not the business pods, but the Joy of Business.
Yeah.
I've been asking a lot of questions, and it feels lighter to me to live stream it.
Okay.
So I had signed up to be in person. Is there anything I need to do to change that, to just re-enroll for the live stream?
Yeah, if you sign up on for the live stream on that link, because there's separate registrations. So if you just sign up for the live stream, and I can take you off of the live class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and if you change your mind, you can change your mind. That's okay.
Yeah. I'm really
You're allowed
surprised.
to be a humanoid. What's that?
I'm really surprised that it isn't feeling lighter to go up there, but I think what would create more ease for me was to just do it here.
Yeah, cool.
Live stream it. So I'm sorry I won't see you in person. Sorry I won't see you in person.
I know.
That means we'll just have to play somewhere else.
We will have to play somewhere else. Yes.
I highly recommend the business pods to everyone that's listening. I did it for 6 months, and last year I made $20 in my business, and this year I've made several thousand already. I had to pay taxes this year.
How does it get better than that?
And I'm just looking
do
to
business pods and you'll pay taxes.
sweet.
That's awesome. I love
Yeah,
it.
and I really appreciate you, Heather, and how you contributed to me. And yeah, you'll get a lot out of it. So do it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really it is like a rocket ship. Both actually, the Joy of Business classes and the pods, and they're a really cool complement. Like I know there are people that are looking at doing both. They're an amazing complement. Like they're very different, and really just a lot of explosive, cool creation, being and joy and stuff like that. It's really, that's one of my favorite things is actually just watching people's lives and businesses take off from this stuff, however you go about getting your hands on it. So I will send links for all of that in the email so you can look at it further. But if you want to look at the Joy Business Denver class, it's accessjoybusiness.com/Denver. And there's facilitators that do other classes all over. I'm actually doing one in Hawaii in March if anybody wants to come to Hawaii. And then the business pods is heathernichols.com/business pods. And that's where you'll find that. So yeah, thank you so much for this amazing conversation. Yeah, I am really grateful for all of you and all of you guys on the stream. And
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks.
Enjoy the sangria.
And we will. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, I got it.
Bye. Bye.